And so suddenly things get a little more dire. There was a chance for TeamOne on that train game when they had the momentum in their 6-round spree, but Vince, we move into Mirage. And I'd say that this is kind of like the Puma's den. FURIA's masterclass performance tends to happen here on this map, and I think TeamOne may have their hands full. But the likes of Barton could maybe turn it upside down. What are your win conditions here?
Oh man, I'm not sure if I have any Scrawny, which I know is really kind of pessimistic, but the fact is that I feel this would be the biggest upset of this entire tournament if TeamOne won this map.
Yeah,
I'm not even talking about winning the match. I just mean this map. FURIA are so good.
I think that's all fair. You know, it's a little pessimism, but I would call it realism. They will have their hands full, especially with FURIA starting off on the T side, where you know they're just going to try to do what they did on Train, where their opponents were meant to be more comfortable. They're just going to run rampant. Just really crank the dial here and see what they can do. See how much they can chew through of the CT side. Barton comes looking up, staring in the face of God. Yuri winks back at him. And of course, the CT picks up the frag. So Henny now, he's looking to shut them down from their spawn. He gets the gush onto Pesa. Barton doubles back to try and kill the man in mid, but it's a 4K from Henny in the pistol. And that bodes well for FURIA.
Oh, I mean, it's just the perfect start, isn't it? Especially after how they turned it around on Train, and their T side was just phenomenal to kick things off again. And I mean, the reason why we're saying this is over the last 3 months, they've got a 6-0 win rate. But if we look at the teams they've beat Liquid 3 separate times on Mirage. Liquid. So we're looking at the difference in like caliber of teams that these teams have played on Mirage. It's vast. And FURIA have not lost a single time. Art spraying down twice with a MAC-10. PRT back with 1, but Molbs has gone down himself. And it's looking like it's going to be more of the same. Deagle at this range could make this round sting a little bit more. But the bomb actually dropped back towards T spawns. That's going to eat up a little bit of time and separate some of these Ts from one another. Need to make sure they don't give PRT chances, because even though he was quite untrained, the guy is a skilled player and he could punish you. Going in for another one, missing out, and Henny will seal the deal for the 2-0 lead.
Henny, this has been one of the success stories of this FURIA roster, and I like it. I feel like he's really kind of coming into his own. I think he's improved just overall as a player across all facets of his game. Obviously, Op still being his, you know, specialty. Vertigo in particular, I feel like this guy is just really making a name for himself again. You know, there was a time where he kind of dipped off, but now he's right back with his Brazilian brethren at the top alongside FURIA. Molbs gets wrecked inside of the palace. Art, well, his first gun goes dry, but the second, in the form of the USP, connects between the face of Maluk. 4v2. Barton and PRT maybe just looking to, as you said, you know, rack up some costs, waste the cash, get those Molotovs out of them, maybe a couple smokes, but I feel like FURIA in the post plant now, it's just AKs up and hunting, because this MAC-10 of Quesarado is expendable. And of course, if he can make even more money by clearing out his corners, he's going to be set up real well. Barton can't trade that one, so he's just going to run. Run, my friend. Be free.
I think they may put him out of his misery and push him towards that freedom, but maybe not the one that he was looking for. Ooh, spicy shot. And it isn't Quesarado, but Quesarado can pick up an AK anyway. It does mean that FURIA do lose one rifle coming through into the next round. So TeamOne have done a bit of damage. And now a buy will be coming up for TeamOne. But again, under normal circumstances, you're not getting carried away in round 4. But because it's FURIA, because it's Mirage, I feel like each and every one of these CT rifles that they can afford, they need to make successful. They've got to get it done.
No sniper just yet for Henny. Could allow for them to just continue playing off of each other. Quick clash, real fast, right at the top of mid. And that was what I was anticipating coming out of TeamOne. They had their most success on the T side of Train when they could set the tempo. Well, Mirage opens up the defense for this type of aggression way more so than Train. And you get an example of it straight out the gate. TeamOne think to themselves, if we sit back, relax, and let FURIA take all the map control in the world for free, like they do very rapidly, you're not going to be long for this one. They're going to be on your bomb site before you know it. However, if you can punch them in the face at the top of mid before they get the chance to kick your door in, maybe they think that could provide a bit better. But obviously in this case, they go down 2 players immediately. PRT, well, he's gone unchecked inside of Palace. Seems like Cacerado may be a little bit wary of it. No defuse kit. If you had a kit and a smoke, I'd say maybe he gets real cheeky, but he still finds a little bit of a timing here to try and make something happen, misses his shots, and that will absolutely cost him. So a team ace across the board for FURIA as they shut down early CT aggression.
I don't think it can feel really any flatter than that if you're TeamOne. You go for an aggressive play, you're trying to assert dominance, and in doing so, you just get slammed. 2 for 0 trade in middle to start the round off. FURIA losing, I think, just the 1 player. And now TeamOne back into effectively a half fight, and they've lost the first player. And this is really the nightmare. We talked about this in the first day when we casted FURIA, and we said that they were like the boa constrictors of Counter-Strike. Like, you never feel like you have any room to breathe. And they're continuing that pace again. 1-for-1 trade, fair enough. Pacer gonna put down Vinny with authority, but there's still so many gaps and vulnerabilities in this defense that you feel like FURIA are gonna be able to bypass sooner rather than later. And it just got that little bit more simple with Pacer peaking and being punished.
Oh, Mobs. He thinks he's going to do something on this A site, but just takes the shot from Cacerado coming out of Palace. 1 defender back towards Ticket and another in Marketplace. So A site, oh my God, look how good they are. They are crisp and clean, and that is not a good sign if you are on TeamOne. You know, Vince, my main man, Launders, did a video recently on FURIA and on their results as they kind of claimed that #1 spot in NA for the moment. And I know he has a favorite quote from Art where you know, Art was talking about how he likes to drag their opponents down into the mud with them, because that's where FURIA shine. You know, we talk about this aggression and whatnot. That first gun round, I think, is the best example of dragging TeamOne into FURIA's gameplay. It's almost like a trap. You know, you show them that holding on bomb sites is just going to lead to them charging straight at you. So you try to do what they do. You look to roll around in the mud pit. Next thing you know, you suffocate on dirt. That's kind of what it felt like in the first gun round. Let's hope it's a different face for TeamOne here in the 6th. They've got that sniper on Maluk. Still no op needed on FURIA. And it's not going to be that top mid clash straight out the gates. No, sir. They're going to hold back a bit more patience inside of Connector. A flashbang goes over, but nobody makes their move. And even then, because they didn't rush, you still have FURIA right inside of middle in just mere moments, but Pesa perfectly timed. A second flash goes over. I like that. A honeypot type trap in mid. Give it to FURIA. Fake the flash, go for the second round, and catch them once they had already established what was that initial bit of control.
Excellent bit of aggression, as you say, from Payson. The timing couldn't have been better. I just love watching the utility. It's so beautiful to watch FURIA's mid takes. Everything is so well oiled, so well drilled into place. And now Vinny, 1 versus 4, doesn't have the bomb. That actually just dropped behind him with his teammate. He's going to have to go back and pick that one up. Smoke put down onto Market, making sure that the apps are also Molotoved off. There's another one for him. So he's getting all of the trimmings that he could want, but the downside is there's 4 players up against him, and it's going to be PRT who does dispatch and get TeamOne across the finish line for the first time on Mirage.
I like this new look from TeamOne. You know, go back to their first gun round. They tried to charge the top of mid. That was like a 10 on the aggression dial. And, well, they burned themselves by going for it. So they turned it down a notch to about a 7. Again, putting themselves in a position where they could still fight mid in the first 20 seconds. And normally, you'd feel like 20 seconds wouldn't be enough to have 3 Ts in mid. But it's FURIA. They waste no time. So just a 7 on the notch was still enough. TeamOne not shying away from the gunfights, but being a bit more calculated and a bit more, well, thought through than just sprinting at their opponents. They get another 5 versus 4 here in this one as they catch that tail end of the cat play. They do still have Yuri inside of the ladder room, but Barton, he'll have his hands full on abs, Molotovs, burst inside of the smokes. Vinny, he goes down as he tries to entry, and Yuri activates from the catwalk to cut off at least one, but PRT still stands for a little longer. Pesa takes his position on the back of the bomb site as what's left of Furia has fallen downwards, but hasn't fallen out. Not yet. Another trade back the way of Furia, 1 versus 1, and Maluk, he could find the best of timing. With bomb out in the open, he just can't get tunnel vision, and he won't. Finds K Serato, trying to figure out what's going on, and TeamOne keep the ball rolling. But that ball nearly deflated, Vince. Only 1 player survives.
Yeah, man, that was so close. And I honestly could watch Furious T-side just forever. It's so fun. It's so great. Like, again, the middle smokes being put into play, great. They're actually going to throw them out again, and they can always do this. They can fake it's going to be B again, or middle again. Almost Pavlov dog's effect. Get them anticipating that and then push A behind it. Now, in the previous round, they did have a player go into Palace. Maluk is going to spot the elbow of Vinny around the corner and blows it clean off. But that's not enough to take him down outright. So TeamOne adapting very well to this. But Furia still in this round, and the economy on the balance for both teams. Neither team is going to be completely secure if they get batted down here. And Yuri making moves in connector. With that momentary weakness, they expended a lot of utility and a lot of aggression through middle, and then TeamOne fell back into these more static positions. And Pesa, fully flashed from K Serato, gets plucked out. Molb should have the drop on Vinny, going aggressive into the ramp area. Maluk missing out on his AWP shot. He has to fall back, and now the T's are somewhat stuck in the middle of a trifecta of counter-terrorists, but the utility is good enough to afford them a bit of passageway. Bartin, standing tall, puts it into a 1 versus 2, but Yuri, with only 42 HP, at least has got the bomb and has enough time, if he so chooses, to wrap all the way to B site.
Yeah, you better run, Yuri. Run like your life depends on it, because it absolutely does. CT is nowhere near the B bomb site to stop him, and that's going to actually give him a halfway decent chance at maybe getting a better post-plant position as well. He just has to take the gamble and jump out here, not wasting much time at hard clearing corners, knowing he still has the edge. Right now, we're getting a better showing from TeamOne. It's not all on Barton just yet. A great play by Malbs to push into the ramp this round really screwed over Furia. You saw how awkward it got for them to try and move out from Palace. Like you said, that kind of triangle of death set up by the Brazilians. Yuri, he decides to go back over by Arch. He is open to the bomb site. He's so worried about Catwalk, but now he's just completely turned to it. Post-plant that sort of falls flat. But a post-plant that could have never happened had he not decided to go to B. So you take the fact that they killed 3 players, shaved off the economy, and kept a bit of cash in their own coffers. Furia still going to be content with the situation. But TeamOne happy to start making this comeback happen early. That's their 3rd on the board.
It's such a chaotic half so far, really. Furia putting up the pace. I wonder at what point they slow things down. Are they just going to keep going all systems ahead with that bomb plant and some kills that justifies going for a force? It's not going to be ideal in terms of utility, just a deagle on K Serato, but middle again being pressured. Similar setup to the round that went prior. And Vinny, who got aggressed on last time, is going to try and take the initiative, not allow Molbs to push down. If he does come around this corner, he is going to be took real quickly into the realms of the underworld. Does have to smoke out for the time being. Not going to get peeked wide. Pesa comes out, and there is Molbs. He is on point to deliver. And TeamOne take the first 2. That's going to put a lot more pressure on Furia's shoulders, especially if Henny's being tagged down, not fragged, and K Serato stands tall for at least 1. Yuri sneaks his way into the ladder room, but that safety net of the vent is still up, so he can't wrap around in towards jungle without making a ton of noise. And considering that PRT is just around the corner on short, Yuri may get picked off, but the timing could work against PRT. He's still cognizant because he's the lone B defender that they could be pushing through B apps. And in doing so, his attention is divided. 40 seconds left, Scrawny. FURIA have a chance, but it's slim.
It's going to kind of balance on Yuri, I think, finding the timing, but he gets caught out by Pesa. He was just watching for that that connector player and turns his attention a second too soon. Quesarado, oh, he knows he's screwed if he just falls down onto them, but there's not much more to get out with. So 4 standing for TeamOne as they take that 4th round. And that is now something to talk about. We've got a defense standing up. The early aggression from FURIA and that 3K and the pistol off Henny, that gave them the early momentum. It gave them the early rounds. And TeamOne, I think it would have been excusable to just collapse under the pressure, having already lost on train, and just, as we kind of all have expected, FURIA to take this win with ease. But they're making them work a bit harder than maybe FURIA had hoped for. They have AK in this one, FURIA that is, on Art. The raid boss has already worked his way up catwalk. He doesn't shy away from the gunfights. And you know what really makes me nervous is because of the smokes in mid, Art, there's a world where he could have just swooped around catwalk, but he gets called out by Maluk, who peeks mid-window, keeping an eye on top of the fence. Then just as FURIA had looked to work their way back to mid, they get met by Molotovs. The 2 players that called the B players back into this piece of the map have died by the time they can arrive. And now they have even less than when they began because Barton is looking to take control of apps. Minute on the clock and FURIA has options, luckily having grabbed the AK off Art and instead now in the hands of Vinny. But I mean, clearly they're outclassed for the remainder of this round. It would take something special.
And he has been spotted as well. PRT sees him. Barton also up on the balcony. Good flashbang, but it's just baiting him into the open. Barton's going to start to clean up. Remnants of his train performance, and PRT going to be chipping in for the last. FURIA have been tied at 5 apiece. Now, we saw that tactical timeout on train. Afterwards, it was nothing but success. We'll see if that's going to be a repeat performance. But I've got to give a lot of credit to TeamOne. We thought they may start to get rolled over and just smashed into the ground, just clobbered. But that is 5 rounds in a row, and additionally, only 1 bomb plant that they've had to contend with. That is actually really impressive to me.
From the 5-0 to the 5-5, and 5 more to go. I think that kind of leaves us with questions, Vince, more than it does answers. It's just nice to see that TeamOne are not out of this series. You know, we saw them with a spree of 6 rounds in the first half of train, only then to not win anything other. That's why I say the options are open. Anything can still happen with a team like FURIA. And I would also argue like a team like TeamOne. They are kind of the gasoline to FURIA's flame. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to be engulfed in fire, but they seem to thrive in it. Doing well so far. Pesa looks to trade it off of the ramp, but he only gets that first one in Art. The patented Mac 10 head slap into the off swap. Oh, it's a thing of beauty. PRT, he's going to try and work closer to that A site, but the damage is already done. They strong arm their way out of the ramp, getting the better of the 2 defenders hanging out there. And then Art, well, that was just the icing on top. But PRT, there's a chance, man. He almost opened up an avenue where he could have smoked that bomb and tried, you know, double underhanding flashbangs for the desperate defuse. I'm not saying it was going to work. I'm saying it could have just maybe slipped through the cracks, like Art does here with that Mac 10 jungle push. Very nicely done. He senses the opening, and he absolutely clamps down on it, giving FURIA back their lead.
A courageous call. After a timeout, you may be anticipating something like a fast A hit, but it was so well done. So concise and efficient that TeamOne had no chance at stopping it. And now FURIA go back to their tried and tested smokes in middle. It's going to be another A-centered push. Mold smokes himself into a safe position, and it's allowing the rest of his teammates to rotate, but they've both gone down. Maluk now showing his hand. Oh, the second shot is sublime. Henny gets splattered across the pavement. And now Art 1 versus 3. They may not expect him to be up close, as he was seen last in middle. But it's really about Maluk's positioning. He is scared at any given moment Maluk may go for that re-peek and may have him dead to right. Time is good, but the bomb still needs to get picked up. If he can sneak out of ramp, there are ways forward, but now he's given his position away. He decides, okay, look, I'm going to try and stand my ground and fight through this. I'm going to secure a bomb plant at the very least, or perhaps not. He's playing for the win. You've got to respect that he has the confidence and he has the belief in himself that he can pull off that 1v3, but it just comes up short. Maluk's round, though, is so good. 3 kills, but it's these two here, and especially this frag that secures them the back.
Yep, big second shot there onto Henny. You know, in hindsight, the money would have done well for FURIA, but even the bomb plant position he had to work with was so open to that Palace peak. Maluk could have easily body bagged a third. He makes the window jump. We got to praise that. Slick movement from Maluk. Shuts down Art early. A couple of shots go zinging by his head, so he looks to maybe find another. Has a teammate here that he's going to boost up onto the bricks. That'll be a good way to keep the bottom of mid under wraps. There's a player getting ever closer in the form of Yuri. Utility near non-existent already here for FURIA. And I love that the moment they had that lead back, TeamOne ties, equalizes, and Yuri, oh no, he should be dead to rights, but PRT missing the headshot. Yuri dodging the flashbang. That one's going to screw over Pesa, who now opens up the A site because Yuri wants blood. And Mobs, we've seen him in this position before. We've seen him shut down players as they attempt to entry, but because there's nobody over here, you know that FURIA's guard should be high. But still, Mobs just walks right out and gets the double headshot, taking back the man advantage. They knew that was the problem, but nobody kept him pinned in. They claw it back from the 2v4.
Unreal. Absolutely unbelievable that they've managed to claw that round back. But Mobs, that second shot flicking across to Yuri, if it's a 1-for-1 trade, it's probably still not good enough for TeamOne. He had to get a killing spree under his belt. And man, did he pull it off with style. FURIA actually behind. They find themselves in a deficit. Sure, the CT side is yet to come, but typically FURIA do work on their T side, and TeamOne have been right alongside them the entire game. Keep in mind that this started off at a 5-0 scoreline. That is 7 of the last 8 rounds that TeamOne have picked up for themselves. They have completely turned the tides. And now FURIA into a very rough buy of just the 1 AK-47, but I say that as Art drills into Peso with surgical precision, and now looking to change his attention elsewhere. That's not ideal from Mobs. I can understand to try and get aggressively into Palace, as the upper ground is going to be very difficult to deal with, but in doing so, he just gave his backup for free, and that's now an extra AK-47 that trades hands. Art goes in for the peak. They baited out his teammate Vinny with the CZ, and now Barton from range puts him down, but it's too little too late. There's only 2 players remaining for TeamOne. Their economy's not in ideal shape. They've got to be cognizant of the fact if they lose from here and don't save any weapons, they're going to be on a really rough buy for the final round of the half. And PRT seemingly just wants to save that up, but in doing so, nearly gets peek from Vinny. The round is done though. FURIA win this. The only questions left to be answered: do TeamOne survive? And with those couple of misses, they probably will.
They're looking to just get away, but oh my god, the FURIA chase is so real. They are just coming at him quick. Like you said, the round definitely in the hands of FURIA, but what about the weapons in the hands of TeamOne? Barton doing all that he can, but Yuri, he just saw the barrel. That's one of the snipers removed. They still get forward with 1. But is there anybody better than Art in these sorts of 1 AK raid boss type buys? He had to put the round on his back, and I think that's so freeing in a way. You know, if Art is the ravenous dog on the leash of FURIA, in rounds like that, when he knows that his teammates are not going to be able to do anything because he is the only one that's equipped, that's when his playstyle, that patented Art aggression, just so beautifully shines through. And even when they lose the first player in window, it's clear just how, just how fast it truly is when the guy on Palace dies without even turning attention to the biggest of threats. But alas, let's focus on this one. CT's buying with what they can. It was limited. They try and push Pesa out of the connector off of the flash, something that got them their spree of rounds started to begin with, and something that FURIA have seemed to have been a little more aware of as time goes on. Sure, he still gets the 1 kill, element of surprise, and he takes down a big scalp in Art, but then it's the T's to just move right through. They trade him out at the base of that connector. Bomb being chased by the MP9 falls victim to Henny's patience. Vinny, he's the late lurk, and he gets his 2nd kill. Malbs, he's gonna get hyper aggressive, jumping out from the market. Oh, a 2nd D out of nowhere, and Malbs, he's just gonna look to stick the bomb. Vinny's nowhere to be found. Malbs, that is miraculous. Take a break.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on. Show me the money. Show me the money. Yeah. 'Cause it feels good right now. Yeah. Gotta show me the money. Yeah. Yeah. Come on. Never been around wealth, now I'm surrounded. Nice cars at the mansion right next to the fountain. CEOs in business suits and private accountants. Yeah. Summertime parties by the pool, we lounging. Then by night we out stunting on the main strip. Out of state trips, cars with the paint drip. How could you hate this? Jewelry in my chain sick. That's the life I wanna live. Show me the money. Show me the money. Show me the money. It's all about the lifestyle. Yeah. It's all about the lifestyle. Show me the money. Show me the money. Show me the money. It's all about the lifestyle. It's all about the lifestyle. Yeah. Yeah. Come on. Show me the money. Show me the money. Show me the money. Never have to worry if I have enough dough. Fashion show out in Paris in the front row. Party every night, I don't have time to sleep. Next day it's the same, just rinse and repeat. Summertime trips on the yacht to the island. Squad rolling with me and we do a lot of wildin'. Bottle of whatever you want, just put your order in. You can have as much as you want, there's plenty more of them. Yeah, show me the money. Show me the money. It's all about the lifestyle. It's all about the lifestyle. Show me the money. Show me the money. Show me the money. It's all about the lifestyle. It's all about the lifestyle. Show me the money.
So we kind of ended the first half in a really crazy place, wouldn't you say, Vince?
Yeah, that definitely was against the run of play, I think it's safe to say, Scrawny, and gives TeamOne actually the lead, which when you consider that FURIA started that half 5-0 is kind of insane. But FURIA, they got a statement to make. They're not happy with how that half ended. They feel a little bit underwhelmed. They wanted a solid lead, and instead they find themselves behind. So Keserato, instead of standing and fighting, he decides to fall back in kitchen, which is such a good play. It does put more pressure on his teammate of Art, who's gone down, but it also facilitates a much more powerful retake, which is now coming to fruition. Plenty of headshots have landed, though. Vinny, Henny, Yuri, all low, all struggling, and maybe Mobs can just continue where he left off after that first half. Flashbang tossed in from Yuri, actually doing more harm than good for his teammates. And now they're spinning, they're pivoting, and Morbs has put down 3 frags, but Yuri and Henny simultaneously take out the stragglers. And they have a kit and enough time for the defuse, but I was beginning to believe that we were going to have 2 crazy clutches in a row, Scrawny.
Man, I would say we do have 2 crazy clutches in a row. 15 health left over for the 2 survivors there of FURIA. Ridiculous. And this game's just giving. I mean, from 5-0 to 5-5. We tied at 6. We tied at 7. We've tied up now at 8. It's a back and forth affair that TeamOne do not want to let slip through their fingertips, because check out this buy. The triple Kalashnikov, all armored and with decent utility. PRT and Maluk shouldn't be much of a factor in this one, but the other 3 members of TeamOne are well gunned and ready to roll. They've got that mid control immediately out of the gates, very much looking like FURIA. And I think that's what I've expected since this map of Mirage started. Again, I just think the map in particular opens itself to be played so much to the favor of the CT and T-side aggression. FURIA, they're going to have 2 players defending this B site. They have to hold 5 guys at bay, AKs included. And meanwhile, FURIA, they're sizing up the A ramp. So this is a double MP9 versus 3 AKs. This favors TeamOne. They immediately get both kills thanks to Malbs. He keeps himself off the top rope of apps, drops the bomb carrier, or rather, defenders, excuse me. The hell am I talking about? And now 5v3 means that FURIA have to just tuck tail and walk away from this. TeamOne right back in control. This map looking more alive for TeamOne than Train ever really did.
Right? That's, to me, one of the biggest surprises, because as I said at the start of this map, I would see this as being one of the biggest upsets, if not the biggest upset in the entire tournament, if TeamOne can pick up this map from FURIA. That's how solid I thought FURIA were going to be, but sure. Hey, full credit to TeamOne. They have came out, they have felt like they had every chance to win this, and right now, they are in the lead. FURIA saving 3 guns, going to have a decent-ish buy. But the pressure is really on the favorites. Henny at least holds on to the FAMAS at the end. PRT is sent reeling, but because they killed him at so late in the round, they don't get a chance to pick up his weapon, which is going to be a little bit of a body blow. But TeamOne, 9-8 in the lead. FURIA, do they force behind these weapons? They do, but it's a really late force.
Sure enough. Oh, but Art, he sends a message. Instant headshot. Oh my god. And then he drops to the bottom of mid, putting out the connector molly so that he could exit through his own smoke. But TeamOne wasted no time. You know, he wanted to get one more shot and then exit up connector back into the stairs. That chance taken away from him. That gun taken away from FURIA. It was only 1 of 3. TeamOne, they're going to sit on top of it. Henny, he looks to move over here with the FAMAS. Him and the M4, the 2 rifles that remain for FURIA, are both inside connector. And this looks very much like that A-site split. If they can cut off the mid players, this would be massive. And down goes Barton. Now they can retrieve the weapons at the base of mid and go into this retake attempt. It's sure it's without a kit, but they still have plenty of time.
Yeah, the bomb's only just gone down, so they can take their sweet time. Even when that smoke clears, a good flash from Malbs, and Maluk capitalizing. Malbs now holding the line, and it was looking good a few moments ago. FURIA able to really stamp down a lot of presence in middle. But Serato does have a kit just ahead of him, but needs to find both these players and will drop at the first hurdle. Malbs, again, is so good in these duels, and TeamOne have bypassed the FURIA force buy.
Barton catching Art. That was a huge one. It almost actually ends up working out for FURIA because all they could go in for was the kills at the base of mid. Now FURIA are left with much less. Double P250 and a frag. Vince, this is what TeamOne needed on Train. You know, you had Barton with that masterclass showing. Obviously, a step ahead, 2 steps ahead of the rest of his team. But now on Mirage, where I feel like because you've gone down a map, the pressure's really off. It's either lose this and deal with the decider matchup or give FURIA some fight. We've got the performance of Malbs now kind of shining, and Barton, well, he still looks good. Looking like Art for the moment. Mac 10 clash on the A site. Vinny USP taps him dead. still, the bomb plant comes off of this and in a very comfortable 4v3. This is an 11th round for TeamOne. From the 5-0 to the 5-5, the back and forth affair all the way to 8 rounds apiece, and now TeamOne pulls ahead by 3.
Putting the dots on the I's and crossing the T's. Got to get across the finish line, and they're going to do just that. Yuri with a P250, hoping to set up for an exit frag and see if he can maybe salvage and scavenge a weapon out of it, but Maluk will not allow that luxury to come to fruition. So 11-8 the score. FURIA have a bye, but it's not going to be a fantastic one. Art's down to a lack of nades. Henny gets dropped an AWP, but lack of nades on Vinny. So they've really churned out the firepower, and they've effectively given up utility or any kits at all. This is a huge risk and gamble from FURIA, but we know they're a team that don't shy away from these chances. Smoke into window stops Art's peak in its tracks, and now he relocates and does get the tag onto Barton, but won't be able to finish him off. But to make matters worse, for FURIA, Vinny tries to finish that frag and just gets headshot instantly. That's putting more pressure on Connector, but Art stands tall for that and passes the test. Yuri, now hiding in the smoke of Shadow, is going to have to try and wiggle his way out. He is an integral part of this defense right now. There's one. Trade it. 2v2 scenario. Even if Yuri were able to jump on top of this retake, it took great cost already, and they're going to do just that. But they lost 3 players, so they're going to have to replenish those weapons, and the economy of the T's is booming compared to FURIA's, so they're not even close to out the woods just yet.
No. They definitely feel the heat of the situation, but the individuals are coming to play. 8 players across the 2 teams picking up frags that round. The trades back and forth. PRT slipping underneath Palace. Dude, Yuri underhanded that flash, and the player in front of him just disappeared off the screen. I thought, I was like, did Henny just get that op shot in the smoke for no reason? It was so tough to keep track of all the moving pieces on that A site. But Henny really did make the difference there. He picked up 2. Vinny, he's on the ladder room, and he dies to Malbs. 10 health left over. AK best M4. Caserado playing with nades, caught by the aggression. Malbs just ripping a page out of FURIA's book. The chapter entitled Art. And there's the bomb plant that comes off of it. So if you were just mentioning how FURIA are feeling the heat, how they're not out of the woodworks just yet, Vince, they just got shoved right back into the depths of the Amazon. Oh my goodness. Their money is near non-existent. And that's assuming that they can keep either the op or MP9 still standing. Meanwhile, TeamOne, 5 guys alive. And if Vinny had just landed 1 more bullet, then none of this unfolds the way it has. Cat could have still been in question, but it would have been way closer of a scenario where maybe these A players could have justified the retake attempt. Malbs is the difference maker. He is the Barton of map 2. And Henny, under pressure, but he will keep his gun. 2 rifles move forward here for FURIA.
Deep in the Amazon, I can't see the sun for the trees of FURIA right now. They are in deep trouble. They did force in a similar situation to this last time, but they realized that they are dangerously close to conceding their map choice for the first time in the last 3 months. And Malbs goes in on Art. One of the 2 weapons they were able to save is already dropped down. Henny with the AWP does what he can, but his teammates are falling around him, tries to push behind that smoke, gets sprayed out of existence. And there is Caserado. Maluk hopping up into the air, drops down, smashes him with the AWP. That save, though, means they're going to have a bye. But my goodness, Scrawny, we are in a position right now where FURIA, they are eyeing up defeat. They are staring it down the barrel of a gun.
Damn, man. Oh my God, I can't believe it. Maluki jumps off of the staircase, grabs the barrel of the op with 2 hands, and just clubs him on the head with it. So close and so brave of him to make that move. But listen, we go back to train. Vince, I was most impressed by that T side. That's where they got their spree of 6 rounds. I think TeamOne plays aggressive well. I thought that FURIA's Level, however, would be maybe a bit too much to chew on, but TeamOne, they're licking their chops because the idea of putting an end to FURIA's Mirage win streak, oh, that's gotta be tantalizing, but they can't get ahead of themselves yet. They cannot get ahead of themselves just yet. They are doing wonderfully, but the job's not done. The thing with FURIA is they don't like losing. They start to get more and more aggressive. They don't hide behind timidness. Frag grenade, perfect. Unarmored Art, 90 damage off of the frag grenade. He has no choice but to back up because you know he doesn't want to be the 5v4. And Malbs is so quickly moving in. Oh, the one tap into Henny just calls him from behind the box. Malbs is a monster. And there's two weakened links here for FURIA. Look at them already starting to retract into that A site, just looking for a place to hide. But in actuality, this is a great call out. We're going to have a 4 versus 5, even with limited HP here on this A site. And Yuri, he cuts off the connector player first. Vince, this is a straight up clash.
Straight up clash, but the HP anything but even. And now the manpower going to favor the oncoming T's. Art sprayed through the box. Malbs continues to be very impressive with his frags, and Bartin getting the headshot onto Case Dorado as one of the players actually just jumped ahead of him. I think it was Malbs. I'm pretty sure he jumped because he was low HP. He was scared he may get shot from the likes of Connector. And Vinny has to go back and save the M4. When you look at the rest of the team and their economy, this looks as though TeamOne may have done enough to take us to a third map. This round was the last roll of the dice. Snake Eyes for FURIA. And as you say, man, that grenade to start the round off, like, Art has got to be so tilted. He's like, man, can I catch a break, please?
No, you can catch a nade to the face, though. 90 damage, man. Oh, and they get him with the wall bag. You ain't saving shit. Down he goes. Now there's nothing left for FURIA. This is incredible. Oh my God. Look at... Boop. Hello, Scream. I thought you retired. Okay. Okay, it's not over yet. Not over just yet. We've got the M4 for Art. We've seen him be the raid boss. They immediately drop to the bottom of Underpass, getting aggressive in apps. This could justify an A stack. But at the same time, Malbs, one of the heavy hitters, is walking back over here. Making sure maybe they don't get the flank. Vinny, oh, poor guy, walks into his death. Excellent dink. We'll give him that. But damage is not going to be enough in this situation. Art, he's able to go in and make sure that's clear. Could try to give chase, but they're about to hit this A site, and there is just pistols to hold it back. Pistols and a flashbang. No armor even. Yuri, he gets burned to underneath Palace. This could buy time for Art to come over, but he's so worried about Malbs being hidden in some sort of a corner that his teammates are going to be slain on A. Art, he gets one kill, and oh, Henny, he had a chance. He had just crept his way around those boxes. They clear everybody else out of the situation, and Art, he can't even get into the engagement because the fire at his feet prevents him from doing so. He can play close smoke, but that's about all his options. If they get a little too aggressive in this scenario, if they give him room to work, then they deserve to lose, because don't you dare write him off. It's the 1 versus 3. Would he go for the ace? The odds so unlikely. He checks the flank, and that's where Barton shuts him down. But look at those HP bars, and tell me that wasn't close.
There would have definitely been a bead of sweat coming down the forehead collectively of TeamOne when Art started to put down the pain and the suffering. But here we go. It's the last chance. FURIA in their final round potentially of their map choice. Do have 2 AWPs to their name. Do have plenty of firepower and utility. It's one of the best buys they've had this half, strangely enough, because their economy has been in tatters so many times. Pacer, aggression, up through middle. The rest of the team is headed through B apps. There are grenades there to meet them, including a smoke, and Art actually missing a shot there. It looked very close to landing to me, but Pacer unable to punish him, and Yuri wide swings from the window and picks him up. Flash is now tossed towards the B app side with a smoke behind it. FURIA doing an excellent job of stalling the T's, and if they're going to push, it's going to have to be basically blinded, choking on that smoke and choking on the bullets being put down range from Vinny and Art. But Art has been squashed. PRT makes moves onto the side. Headshots are plenty, delivering them all first class. And that smoke is going to keep him alive that little bit longer, giving him sanctuary from Vinny's location. As Henny's taking so much damage in the kitchen, this is actually a feasible round for TeamOne to pick up. But PRT caught switching to a Molotov. Down to Henny, and he gets picked off from Maluk. Unbelievable. They actually take Furia's choice of map, and we're headed to Nuke.
Yo, they do it! They put an end to Mirage! That's ridiculous. TeamOne, you came into this match, you said this could be the upset of the tournament, and the match isn't over. The full thing's not done, but never would you have thought that Mirage had any chance for them after that showing on Train. Bro, let's get this to the break. Analysts up next. Nuke's coming soon. Get your friends. Go, go, go.